What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, and this is episode number 56. And today we are going to continue our rankings as we get closer and closer to the start of the 2023 season. Today we're going to talk about the catcher position, quite possibly the weakest position in baseball, my least favorite position in baseball, but we'll get to that as we get closer through this. Joining me today from New Jersey is Mike Haber. Mike, how you doing today?
Doing well, Jason. Ready for this cold weather to end here. As we get closer and closer to baseball season. I mean, we're only what, a week out from pitchers and catchers reporting. Like this is we're getting there. We're getting close.
It's raining right around the corner, dude. I'm stoked. I saw a video of Pete Alonso walking around the complex at Port St. Lucie.
Isn't it sad that as baseball fans, like we could watch like 2 hours of Pete Alonso walking around
and be like, baseball's here, baby. Baseball's here.
Baseball is here. Almost. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to dive into catchers. I know you're not, because you don't like the position, but I think we're gonna have some fun debates on this show because you and I tend to have pretty differing opinions when it comes to this position. So I can't wait to dive into it with you.
Yeah, let's start going. Start at the top. I feel like number one could be one of two different players, and I'm willing to bet I think I know who you have, and I don't think it's who I have. Who is your number one catcher?
Wow. All right. I'm gonna go JT here because of the dual threat, the home runs and the steals, and his numbers last year. I think he's the clear-cut number one for me just because of that dual threat. And he's hitting right in the center of a pretty powerhouse lineup. So that's where I'm going with it.
And I'm gonna go with the other guy. I don't know why everybody, like, I feel like Will Smith gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. Like and he's 4 years younger than Real Muto. Over the last two full seasons, looking back at 2022 and 2021, he's actually had like better rate stats. He's got a better OPS plus. He hits the ball harder. He has a better walk rate. He has a better home run rate. He has a better strikeout rate than Real Muto. So to me, like if I'm looking at this from a fantasy perspective, I think I like what I see from Will Smith better than just a little bit better than Real Muto. I mean, I'm not down on Real Muto. I just think Will Smith is just a little bit better. He's younger. I like the Dodgers. I like Will Smith.
Okay.
Not the rapper, not the reliever. I
mean, he's my number two. So I think it's really just up to the discretion of who's drafting. But I kind of like the appeal of getting one player at the catcher position who can contribute in steals, and there really aren't any more of those. So it's just
we'll see. I mean, Real Muto stole 13 in 2021, so like, which is not nothing, but like, and then he stole 2020. He stole 21 this past season. Like, I don't know. Is he gonna steal a lot? I don't know.
I think you could count on 10.
He's getting older, so
10 to 12 steals, I think, is safe.
Yeah, and that certainly has value, especially like you said in the catcher position. But I don't know. It's splitting hairs, I think, at that point.
Yeah, I think so too. And still, I mean, even though he's my top catcher at the top player at the position, I don't think I would ever draft him this year, given how high he's going in drafts.
Well, so that's the other thing, and I know we've talked about this, in past seasons with Joe and Ben. Is like, where do we start drafting catchers? Like, there are some years where I feel like they're drafted in the first two rounds, and then there's years where it'll be round 10 before you see a catcher go off the board. And I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how this class goes this draft year, because, like, I don't know, to me there's a group, there's these top two, and then there's maybe like 4 or 5 more that I would be comfortable having as my starting catcher. And if I don't get one of those, I'm probably just punting the position.
Right. I hear you. I definitely hear you. So yeah, that's a great question. Like, I don't know who's going to be drafting a catcher when. I do think JT Realmuto is going to go a bit earlier than I probably would have liked him. So
Yeah.
I can't see myself with him on my team. And I think Will Smith will probably follow very soon after. So realistically, I don't see myself with either one of them. But
Right, because I think you're right. I think someone's going to see Realmuto go off the board and go, "Oh, okay, I better get Will Smith," but then no one's going to go for the rest. Although there might be one exception to that, but we'll get to him.
okay.
Let's continue down. Who's your so we have Will Smith and Realmuto flip flopped. Who's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is, I feel like we're probably so different with this position. But my number 3 is Dalton Varsho.
Wow, yeah, you're high on Varsho, huh?
I am, because he still has catcher eligibility, but he's probably not going to catch very much.
Right.
And which means that he's going to be starting almost every day. He probably won't need, like, he's not playing half of his games behind the plate and then on the bench the other half. If he is their everyday left fielder, that guy is going to play every day. And so you can probably count on, like, I don't know, 25 home runs, 15 steals, something like that from a catcher position. I think is pretty huge. That's JT numbers, just probably with a lower batting average.
And especially in that Blue Jays lineup, like he's going to do some damage in there. He's due to hit 5th according to Roster Resource.
Yeah.
Starting as their left fielder. So like he's right behind Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, and Kirk. So like there's going to be some access there. I just to me, like the eligibility and the speed is nice and great. Like I would draft him, but like his numbers just like haven't. He hit 27 home runs last year, which is great, but like his 235 average, a 302 on base. He's been just good. He's been good. He's been what you expect from like a catcher. I don't know, if I call those numbers outfield numbers, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, but you wouldn't put him in the outfield though, right?
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, I think you're drafting him as a catcher, right?
Right. I mean, I probably wouldn't be drafting Varsho and sticking him in left field.
Yeah. Yeah, I have him down at 7. So like he's in my top 10, and he is definitely somebody that I have my eye on. And if he's hot during spring training or something like that, I can move him up. I don't know what to expect from him, especially in the new ball club. I don't know. He'd be a fun one to watch this year.
Okay, cool.
My number 3 is guess.
Your number 3 is Wilson Contreras.
Yeah. I mean, he's as steady as it comes. I mean, his bat is still strong. He's 31, so like he's starting to creep up there in age. But like he hit 22 home runs last year, 21 the year before. He's as steady as it gets from the catcher position, and now hitting in the middle of that Cardinals lineup with Goldschmidt and Arenado, like. Yeah, I am high on Contreras. People are down on him. I'm still high on him. I like him. Why don't you?
It's not that I don't like him. I do. And I like him in his new ballpark. I like him hitting second. There's nothing that like screams out to me that this is like a star player. There are no like, how do I explain it? There's no factors that make him like really stand out. Like I could see him hitting like 15 to 20 home runs and hitting 230, 235. Like that's what most catchers are doing anyway. And he is 31 years old. I don't know if they want to go along the lines of like what they did last year with Yachty, or 2 years ago with Yachty, and like play him every day, like great. I'd probably move him up in my rankings. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll have him DH. We'll see. But until then, I have him at 7. It's not that I don't like him.
Okay, so we each have our 3 and 7s flip flops.
Yes. Yep.
That's interesting. That's really interesting, actually. Okay.
Yeah. So we have not agreed yet.
No, but we're just reversed so far.
Yes. Yep.
So give me your number 4 catcher now.
All right. Guess.
Is it Salvi?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. Tell me about Salvador Perez.
It is Salvador Perez. I think that this is a guy, he's obviously getting up there in age, but his playing time is incredible for the position. So he's gonna play all the time as long as he's not injured. And this is a catcher that could potentially hit you 30 home runs, 30 plus home runs, which you can't really say that about any other catcher at the position. Maybe you can make the Will Smith argument, but I don't know that he can really get there. Maybe I'll eat my words, but I think that Salvador, if he's healthy, can get you 30 home runs with pretty decent numbers, other numbers as well. And I think, Kansas City has, I'm not going to say they have a good lineup, but the top of the lineup is pretty formidable with Melendez, Bobby Witt, Salvador Perez, and Vinny Pasquantino. Like there's something there, and they'll produce some runs. So I could see him hitting 30.
And the other thing is, like you mentioned him. I mean, and I'm sure we'll talk about him later on in the show. But they have MJ Melendez who can catch. So like, they can put Salvi in the DH spot, so he's gonna have to catch every day and still keep that bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
I tell you, I have Salvador Perez at 6, which, from our past conversations, off air and throughout the offseason, that's pretty high for him, because I'm not really, I don't really love him.
Right.
But the numbers don't lie. And I'm just worried that, he's going to start getting older and, start breaking down, but maybe that doesn't happen this year. Maybe he still has, another year or two of, really solid production in him.
Yeah. He's 32, 33.
He'll be going to age 33 season. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which doesn't sound old at all, but when you're a catcher, and he's had injury problems before.
Yeah,
so, you kind of, you kind of feel that way with any catcher, right? That, a catcher can, take a foul tip to the head and he could be out for 2 months. It could happen, at any time. But yeah, he's strong. He's strong. He's averaged 36 home runs over the last 2 years. So you're right. You're not getting that from any other catcher right now.
It's a very unique power source from a position pretty sapped of power. So I feel like he's sort of a diamond in this group.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, and you're right. Like Mitch Garver is the example of a catcher having a great season and then getting injured in a bad spot.
Very, very bad spot.
Very bad spot. Yeah. Yeah, so I had Perez at 4, you had him at 6.
Yeah, my 4 is a guy who I think could get to 30 home runs if he's given a full season. I have Alejandro Kirk at number 4.
Okay, I have him at 5.
Okay, so there you go. Because and I feel like it's the same situation with the Blue Jays as it is with the Royals, where they have Danny Jansen. So like Jansen and Kirk could flip-flop catcher DH, just like Perez and Melendez could in Kansas City. So like Kirk might DH a lot because he is I feel like he is built more for the DH position.
Yeah.
But he has the catcher eligibility, and he's got he's a big dude. So like I just feel like there's a lot of power in that bat. I could see him reaching 30 home runs.
Yeah, I could see it if he gets the playing time. The only thing that makes me nervous about moving him higher than 5 is I think the Blue Jays are a different situation than the Royals because Danny Jansen and him can flip-flop, but the Blue Jays have bats that they're going to want to play that are in that DH spot.
True.
Like Brandon Belt right now is there, but you also have Espinal and Whit Merrifield, who are going to be battling, and they're going to want to get
And
those guys in
Biggio.
the lineup, and Biggio as well. So like, I don't know that it's necessarily going to be written in the cards for him to have the plate appearances to get to 30, but we'll see.
True.
I think
You're absolutely right. There's certainly that potential. He's only 24. Like I feel like there's still a lot of growth in him. We'll see, but I am definitely high on Kirk. So
you
here's
are
my number
Captain Kirk.
4. Yes, Captain Kirk. So he was my 4. Your 5. Your 4 was Salvi. So my 5. I'm going Anthony Rutschman here.
He's my 6. Okay.
All right, so we're close here.
We're getting close. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot closer than I thought we would be.
Yeah.
What did you see with Rutschman this year?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a guy kind of burst onto the scene. Good numbers all around, like on base percentage. He showed a little bit of some power, even like the batting average. And we've talked about it in the past, but that Orioles lineup is just getting stronger and younger, and like he's surrounded by Mullins and Gunnar Henderson, and not to mention Santander and Mountcastle. Like this is a powerful lineup. And he didn't have a full season last year, so if he gets one, like that's kind of scary.
Yeah. I mean, his 364 on base. I mean, he only he played in 113 games, so obviously half a season worth, but like that's pretty good. And what I like is the Orioles picked up James McCann from the Mets of the offseason, who I feel like could be a real good mentor for this kid. Like, I don't think they really had like a catcher last year that would like fit that role well. I think James McCann. I can just see McCann taking this kid under his wing and just like, I mean, obviously McCann's not a superstar, but like, just show him the ropes and just get him acclimated into the big league lifestyle. I feel like that would be huge with working a pitching staff and all that kind of stuff. He's got the pedigree. He was number 1 pick, so I mean,
yeah, he was. I also really like that he's a switch hitter too. Which is something really fun with a catcher, because he's not going to lose at bats because of that. He'll just lose games for rest, but otherwise, like they're going to want his bat in the lineup, hitting at the top of the lineup, regardless of who's pitching. Yeah,
and he could get 140 games in for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, so he was my 5, your 6. My 6 was Salvi. So we're on to, and we had our 7s, which was Varsho and Contreras.
Yep.
So if my math is right, we're on to number 8. Who's your number 8?
My number 8 is one of my favorite picks for catcher this year.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that because I don't want anyone to draft him, because I want to draft him. So don't draft him. I'm going Tyler Stevenson.
Wow. Okay.
That's my 8.
Wow. Tell me about Tyler Stevenson.
I recently read a report on him that he wants to or plans to play upwards of 140, 150 games, which means that given Votto's age, I think that he's going to get reps at first base. I think he's going to get reps at DH, and I think he's going to get reps at catcher. And I think him and Will Myers and Joey Votto will kind of like rotate around a bit so that Votto is at least rested. And this is like he's young, he's 26 years old. He's one of like the Reds' only productive players at this point. So he's gonna play, he's gonna hit in the middle of the lineup. And I had him last year before he had that freak injury, and like he was always on base, he was always scoring runs. He hit like over 300. It's granted it's a small sample size, but
that's my concern, is like, because I think he was on the injury list like 3 times last year. Like I think he had like 2 concussions, and like he was just out a lot. He played in 50 games. 50.
Yeah. Yep.
No, the year before he played in 132 games, and he was still quite productive, batting 286 with a 306, with a 366 on base. So like, yeah, when he's on the field, he's really good. The injuries and the lack of lineup is what knocks him down for me. I have him ranked 11.
Okay, that's
So
not that far off. Okay.
not too far off, but I couldn't get him above some of these other guys in better lineups. That I think might play a little bit more. But you're right. If he's healthy, yeah, especially if they're going to be putting him at first base or whatever. Yeah, then he's somebody to watch in spring training to see how they're using him.
Yeah, and especially in that lineup too. Like, I mean, not the lineup, the ballpark. Like,
Yeah,
he can really do some damage if he's healthy and can stay on the field and get reps at first base, which I think they're going to do. Like, they really value his bat in the lineup. So why start him a catcher every day? You have a couple of catchers on your bench. Like,
they did. They actually, they brought in a few.
yeah.
Like veteran, like Kirk Casale and Luke Miley. Like they brought in a couple of veteran catchers to kind of fill that void. So yeah, you make a good point. They could be moving him around a little bit.
Yeah. So I know I'm high on him, and I'm gonna be pissed if someone else drafts him, but he's my target this year. There you go, guys.
First round pick.
Yep. Round 1, pick 4, Tyler Stevenson.
Yep. All right, so here's your number 8. My number 8 is a guy who I almost forgot about. I will admit, but I am slotting William Contreras here at number 8. He's due to. I think he's due to hit, according to Roster Resource, he's going to hit cleanup with the Brewers after this trade from Atlanta. The kid's got pop. He's going into age 25. Like, he's young. The Brewers aren't great. We talked about their offense or lack thereof that concerns us. But I mean, this kid could hit. He could get you 25 home runs if he's playing the full season. So, it doesn't feel like there's anything that's really bad about his game. I don't think he's going to hurt you in a lot of areas. It doesn't seem like he strikes out a ton. Struck out 104 times and 330 at bats or so last year. So
it's great.
Not terrible. What do you think about Contreras?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I almost actually ranked him above his brother, but I have him at 9, so I have him next.
Okay.
Which is 2 spots underneath his brother. But I agree with everything you said. I don't love the lineup support, but one thing you can say about him this year that you couldn't say last year is that he is the starting catcher. Yes. And last year he was splitting reps and didn't have that lead role until Darno got hurt, and then he took over that role. But I think he's got the lion's share of the playing time here in Milwaukee, and I can't wait to see what he does with it. Would I have loved to see that in Atlanta? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
but he's hitting in between Rowdy Tellez and Jesse Winker. Like, that's not terrible,
Yeah, I mean, which Jesse Winker are you gonna get? But
true. Yeah. But I mean, maybe Seattle just wasn't a good fit for the guy. Who knows? But like, there's potential there. The Brewers' backup is Victor Caratini. He's a defensive catcher who's gonna, he'll play once or twice a week. Like, so yeah, I think Contreras is gonna get the lion's share, like you said.
Yeah, agreed. I could also see him DHing in a bunch with Caratini playing catcher, like not even missing any games during a week,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so he's my 8. Your 8 was Stevenson, right?
Mm-hmm. And my 9 is William.
Is Contreras. My 9 is actually Danny Jansen.
Wow. Okay.
First to admit that he has not played. He has played in 70 games each of the last 2 seasons. So like, he has not been on the field. But when he's been on the field, he's been really good. He had 15 home runs last year in 72 games.
Yeah.
Like, that's real. That's legit. So he hits the ball hard. He's been productive when he's on the field. If he can stay on the field, I think he can make some real steps here. He's 28, so he's kind of like right in the middle of his prime here now. Again, like with Kirk, like we were saying, the playing time is going to be very interesting to see how the Blue Jays rotate these guys in. Also, does Varsho get any catcher reps in throughout the year? So, yeah, it's a weird mix there in Toronto. But again, if he's playing, I like what he brings to the field.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, I like Danny Jansen. I liked what he did last year. I think with bringing Varsho in and Brandon Belt and some of these other guys that are going to sap up the catcher and DH and all of those holes, it really does worry me. I think he had opportunity last year. Kirk was on and off the field at times. They didn't really have any other options to play. And I think I don't know why, but I kind of saw it as a hot streak and less of like, this kid is really good.
Sure.
He could totally prove me wrong, but the playing time scares me with those additions. So I have him ranked at 15.
Okay, that's probably like, that's one of the farthest we've been apart on. But
yeah,
it's a dicey situation there in Toronto with any three of those, especially with just Kirk and Jansen. So it's gonna be a kind of look and see what they do in spring training to see where we want to go with him.
Yeah, and my thing is too is that if Varsho is going to get the most at bats out of those three just because of playing the outfield, and then it's not going to be a 50-50 split. Like Kirk is too good for it to be a 50-50 split. So I feel like it's going to be like 70-30. And in that case, like I just don't see Jansen getting in enough, but
we'll see. You're right. And I probably have guys here who I should be moving up ahead of him, but I'm just hoping for some playing time and, again, that power, if there's any remotely close to a full playing time, that power can translate into something real legit. So
okay, yeah, I hear you.
That brings us to number 10.
Okay, are we gonna have the same number 10?
I don't know. This is where it gets tricky here. Who you got?
I got Sean Murphy.
We do not have the same number 10.
Okay.
Sean Murphy. All right, tell me about Sean Murphy.
So I'm going to tell you actually both right now. I have Murphy and d'Arnaud back to back, 10-11.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is because two things. Number one, I don't necessarily believe that Marcell Ozuna is going to get all that DH time, because at this point, I actually think that d'Arnaud and Murphy are better and more productive bats to have in the lineup. That's just me, but based on what we saw last year with the split between d'Arnaud and William Contreras, and they both were super productive when they were in the lineup, like I can probably see it be a split, almost an even split, plus the DH time. So I feel like 400 to 450 at bats is pretty reasonable for both players. I don't know if that's going to be the case, if Sean Murphy is just going to like take over the lion's share of the role or not. But if they're both in the lineup often, I could see both of them producing for Atlanta in that lineup, which is why I snagged both of them in that spot. Like I'd be happy with either one, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. What worries me about d'Arnaud is he's actually older than Salvador Perez. We talk about how old he is, and d'Arnaud is older, and a little bit more injury prone too, I think. So I have him down number 16.
Okay.
Oh, we're also talking about Sean Murphy, aren't we?
Sean Murphy, yeah.
Sean Murphy, I have at 13.
Okay.
So I do have Murphy higher than d'Arnaud.
Okay.
I
You're
don't know.
Not buying in on the Braves catchers, huh?
I'm not. Well, the thing is, I didn't really like Murphy that much when he was in Oakland, and I mean, yes, he's in a better lineup now, but like, I don't know if I like him that much better. The split is something to worry about. The split in playing time. He's young enough. He could have a good year. If he has a good year this year, like I'm willing to like move him up. But right now, just going into the season, he just seems average to me.
Okay. I mean, I hear that, and it's not like his numbers in Oakland jumped off the page. They were good last year and then not good years before. So,
Right.
I
Right.
mean, which one is he? Did he figure something out last year? Or is he, I don't know. Did he just get hot in a year like randomly? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he played well on obviously a very lousy ball club. So I mean, moving to Atlanta should help him.
Yeah.
I just don't know, again, the playing time with him and Darno. I don't know. I'm willing to watch him and see how he goes and move him up. If 2022 was the real him, then sure. But for my number 10 is also a guy who I don't know if he's real. But I at least like I like the team better. Is Kyle Raleigh in Seattle.
Okay.
His average on base, awful.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. 211, 284 average on base, awful. But 27 home runs in 400 plate appearances. I like that. You talk about the catcher position not being full of power. He is a guy that if that's real, that could be real power from a powerless position.
Yeah, I agree. I have him at 13.
Okay.
He kind of fits the switch hitting bill as well there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the power is real. Am I confident enough to call him a top 10 catcher yet? I don't think so. So that's why I have him like right outside, just because I feel like my top 10 are guys that I've seen do it. They're at least reliable to the point where like they've done it in consecutive years. I just want to see one more year of this guy.
Fair, very fair. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I will say he's 26. Their only other catcher is Tom Murphy, who I don't think is good.
No.
So I can see him kind of also taking the lion's share there in Seattle, hitting behind guys like Suarez and Teoscar and Julio. So like I've always been a big fan of Seattle. He's hitting right in the middle of that lineup. So yeah, I'll take a flyer on Raleigh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're actually not too far on him anyway.
No.
10 and 13 is pretty close.
So it is 10. So let's run down who was your top 10.
My top 10 was JT, Will Smith, Dalton Varsho, Salvi, Kirk, Rutschman, Wilson Contreras, Tyler Stevenson, William Contreras, Sean Murphy.
Okay. And I have Will Smith, JT, Wilson Contreras, Kirk, Adley Rutschman, Salvi Perez, Dalton Varsho, William Contreras, Danny Jansen, and Cal Raleigh. So some same, some different.
Yeah.
I like it.
We still have not agreed in one spot yet.
No. And I'm going to guess that we might not. I could. Yeah, I feel like this position is so volatile and awful enough that we could go this whole show without agreeing on a single spot.
Yep, let's see.
What you got for number 11?
Travis d'Arnaud was my 11.
Oh, that's right. Okay, my 11. I'm going with the old guy, the OG. I'm going Yasmani Grandal.
Wow. All right.
He's another guy who like injuries have just thrown him off, but when he plays, I mean, 2021, his on base was 420. Like, that's really good. And like, he hit 23 home runs in 93 games. Like, so yes, he's up there in age, just like Perez and d'Arnaud. But like, I feel like if he is healthy and he can put together at least somewhat of a regular season for him, I mean, not too long ago, he was one of the best catchers in the league. Like, he had one bad year. Like, he hit 200 last year. Awful.
Yeah, the year that I again owned him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. There's definitely some recency bias here. I get it. But like, he could still come back and hit 15 home runs. Like, that's how good he can be if he's healthy.
Yeah, agreed. And he's a switch hitter. I don't know where he's hitting in the lineup as of right now. They have him at 7, which I don't love. When you see some of these other catchers hitting at cleanup or 5th.
Sure.
So that scares me a bit. Sebi Zavala is a decent backup. Not necessarily with the bat, but he's a reliable backup that can sap some playing time. And yeah, the injury risk really does scare me with a 35-year-old catcher. But
yeah,
I mean,
I get it.
he's still Grandal. I have him ranked at 18. He's in my top 20, but after last year, you're right. It probably just is recency bias. I can't see myself drafting him again unless I'm all the way at the, I've punted catchers altogether and he's the only one. So
fair. Yeah. I think this is our widest spread so far.
Yeah. Maybe our 12 is the same.
Okay. It's not. We talked about my 12 is Stevenson.
Oh, okay.
So, right. Yeah, we'll try again later. Who's your 12?
My 12 is MJ Melendez.
He is my 14.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like this kid a lot. And he's similar to Varsho. I'm not sure he's actually gonna catch all that much,
right?
But he's got the position eligibility. I mean, he's got some pop too, and he hits left-handed. He's only 24 years old, and I think he, as of right now, he's scheduled to lead off. So I like all of those things combined. I almost considered moving him higher, like into my top 10, but I like him at 12 for now. See if he can replicate. But I've got my eye on him to move him up.
Oh, for sure. Me too. The strikeouts concern me a little bit. I mean, but he's a young kid, so that's to be expected. But yeah, let's see if he can progress and take some steps forward. Watching him in spring training again will be huge.
Yes.
But yeah, hitting the top of, and we talked about it, the Royals are not great, but that top of the order is still pretty solid. So there's room there for some production.
All right, so you have him at 14?
I have him at 14. Okay. My 13 was Sean Murphy.
Okay, mine is Cal Raleigh.
Raleigh. Okay. So we're on you 14.
Who's your wait? Oh, my 14 is a guy that you just crap talked before we got on the air. My 14 is Jonah Heim.
Wow. Okay. I have him at 19.
Oh man. Okay.
What am I missing behind?
Maybe nothing, but he's a switch hitter. It's something that I like. I'm looking at his lineup improving around him. He is, I think he's definitely the number one catcher here. Mitch Garver is an enormous liability with his injuries. And yeah, he's hitting, if he's right now hitting fifth, which he's scheduled to, he's hitting behind Semien Seager, Blow, and Dallas Garcia. Like, I think he'll have a lot of opportunities to boost these counting stats this year on potentially a winning Texas team. So for that reason, I give him some upside and rank him at 14.
Yeah, the upside's there. If that lineup clicks and he takes some steps forward, he's a guy that I would watch in spring training. But like, I don't know. I mean, his batting average and on base are just dreadful. His OPS plus over the last 2 years is 80. 80. So he's 20% worse than the league average. So like, I mean, yeah, you're right. His cast around him has improved. So like, if that translates into him making some steps forward, I could see him moving up. But right now, I couldn't do it.
Okay. Is that our biggest discrepancy? What is it? 15? 14.
No, I think it's still Grandal.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna get bigger than Grandal. We'll see. 15.
I had Danny Jansen there. So
okay, I have Kybert Ruiz. I had him. I have him and Melendez back to back. Obviously, Ruiz doesn't have the outfield eligibility, but like, I don't know. I feel like they're similar in that they're both young rookie catchers on bad teams that could take steps forward as they start getting more experience. He only hit 7 home runs last year, so the power wasn't there. But a 251 average is not bad for a young catcher. He's got some room to grow. I have him 15. I'm not in love with him. I had him last year.
Yeah.
I don't love him, but like he's probably the last of the catchers that like he's like the last catcher that I would be comfortable having as my starting catcher.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not sure that I would draft this guy. I mean, the one thing that's very appealing about him to me, the only thing is his low strikeout rate and the fact that he does make contact. Because this position, you can easily fall into like, ooh, I want power. Let me go get Eric Haas. And then he'll strike out 200 times. Like you can easily fall into that trap, the catcher position. And with Ruiz, you know that you're going to get a contact hitter who's not going to strike out that much. That being said, I'm not sure he's going to provide that much in any other category. So it's really just like, all right, we'll give you some singles and some doubles and maybe a home run once a month.
For what it's worth, he's due to hit cleanup right behind your boy Joey Meneses. So he's got something there. I don't know. I mean, look, the Nationals are terrible. I don't think they're going anywhere. But like, I don't think it's terrible. His situation.
Yeah.
I
have him at 17th, so it's obviously we're not far off on our opinions.
Okay. Yeah. So he was my 15. My 16 was Darno. Who was your?
I have a surprise pick for my 16.
Oh, a surprise 16. Okay.
Surprise 16 that I think Yahoo and all the other ranking sites may be sleeping on him. You ready?
Hit me.
Okay. I know that there's a young kid coming up who's going to take his spot. I get that. But Omar Narvaez.
I have him as 18.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I thought I was going to be wildly off, but if he's the Mets starting catcher going into the season, like we saw what he did 2 years ago. He's not a bad hitter.
No.
He's a good contact hitter. What did he do in 2021?
2021 in 84 games, he hit 206 with a 292. He had a dreadful 2020 or that's 2022. 2021, 123 games, 11 home runs, 49 RBIs, a 266 and a 342. Yeah, much better. So like,
I would take that.
Yeah, you would take that, and especially in that Mets lineup, like.
Right. And I don't know if Alvarez is just going to be, shot up and get everyday playing time. And if that's the case, like, obviously Narvaez would fall off this list. But if he's the Mets starting catcher, I like him at 16, 17, 18 in that area.
For me, as a Mets fan, I want Thomas Nido can be. I love Nido. I love the glove. He's great. But like, I feel like now that I don't know why they went and got Narvaez in the first place, but they did. So I feel like Nido is now expendable, and you have that Narvaez and Alvarez. You have just a logical catcher DH split, just like the Blue Jays have, just like the Royals have. Like, and you have that, and let Alvarez play. If you don't trust that he can catch yet, he can hit. Let him hit.
Yeah.
I don't want Aaron Ruff being the Mets starting DH, like,
or Vogelback.
Vogelback is a righty killer, who should be coming off the bench in the 7th inning to face a tough, righty reliever. That's who Vogelback is, but he clouds up the base paths. So no, I don't want him as a starting DH. I want Alvarez as my starting DH.
Okay.
Back on track.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Narvaez is only 31. Like, it's not like he's, he's not 35. He's not an old man yet. Like,
Yeah.
he can still be productive in this lineup.
Yeah. Didn't he hit like 20 something home runs recently, like in a season? I may be dead wrong, but I thought I remember him having a more productive season than 2021.
He hit, in 2019 with Seattle, he hit 22.
Okay.
But like, right. I mean, 2019, we know that was kind of a tough year to gauge power on. So like, is that real? I don't know. He hit 278 with a 353 on base. He's always been an on base guy. Like,
yeah, I like that too.
2022 was forgettable, like dreadful. But like outside of that, he's been pretty productive hitter throughout his career.
Yeah, agreed.
So you have him at 16. I have him at 18. I had Darno at 16. 17, you had. Did we talk about your 17?
Yeah, I had Keibert Ruiz.
Okay. 17. This is an interesting guy too. We talked about Sean Murphy. This is his air replacement, Shea Langeliers.
Yeah. I'm at 19.
He's gonna be the guy. He's gonna be the guy in Oakland, right? Like, if Sean Murphy could do it in a bad Oakland team, why can't this kid? And he's only 25. I mean, he's got 40 games of experience, so like there's not much no real sample to go off of. But like, why not?
Yeah, I agree. I have him at 19. I have him on this list, and
okay.
Yeah, there's no reason why he can't do it. I don't know a ton about him, but he's gonna get playing time, like you said. I mean, who's gonna poach at bats from him?
I mean, I don't even know who they have. Like, who do they have? Is like
they have Manny Pena.
Manny Pena. Yeah, no, he is the James McCann to Adley Rutschman. Like, he's there to be a mentor and help him adjust to leading a pitching staff. But like, no, he's not taking playing time from this kid. Not on an Oakland team that's destined for horribleness.
Yes. When did they get Jesus Aguilar?
They signed him like 2 weeks ago or so.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure a lot of people did.
Cool.
Didn't exactly break headlines.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So that was my 17. 18 was Narvaez. Your 18
Grandal.
Was Grandal. Okay, so that was our big. Actually, I think so. Okay, 19 I had Heim, and 19 you had Langeliers.
Langeliers, yeah.
So that brings us to 20.
Who's your 20? You go first.
Okay, I have, like you had in shortstop, you had kind of like the A and the B. I had the A and the B, but not in the same case you have. I have either Mitch Garver or Gary Sanchez, and because Gary Sanchez doesn't have a team, I wasn't ready to solidify him as my 20 because I wanted to reserve the right to see where he signs. Like, if he signs in Colorado, like maybe he moves up even further.
Yes.
So like, I don't know what's going on with him. And Mitch Garver, look, I have Garver and Heim back to back because I don't know who's going to be the starter there. Is it Heim? Is it Garver? So I have Heim just a little higher because it might be Heim.
Okay.
But I feel like Garver could snipe some at bats if he's healthy. And then then there's Gary Sanchez just kind of waiting in limbo. So who is your number 20?
Well, I didn't rank Sanchez but you're right. I mean, I could see him landing on this list as soon as he signs somewhere, depending on where he signs. My number 20 is Gabriel Moreno.
I like it.
I don't really love Carson Kelly. I don't see that as someone that's going to stay there or keep that starting job. Gabriel Moreno is, from what I've seen and heard, like, he's a good hitter. And I could see him taking over, especially if Arizona finds itself fighting for a wild card. I could see Moreno like taking that starting job and playing the lion's share of the games if he's contributing. So I like him.
Yeah. I had him on my just missed, but also like yeah, he's somebody to watch in spring training. Like if I see that he's getting the lion's share in spring training, and like they're not going to start Carson Kelly, then yeah, then maybe I find room from him in here. I just want to see what he can do. He had a small taste, a cup of coffee basically with Toronto last year.
Yeah.
But Arizona's got to believe in him. I mean, they traded Dalton Varsho for this kid, so like
he was a big chip, a really big
yeah,
trip. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I don't think Carson Kelly is the answer. So we'll see, but that's a great call.
Thank you.
So that's our 20. So hit me with your 11 to 20.
All right. So I have Travis d'Arnaud, MJ Melendez, Cal Raleigh, Jonah Heim, Danny Jansen, Omar Narvaez, Kybert Ruiz, Yasmani Grandal, Shea Langoliers, and Gabriel Moreno.
Okay. And I have Yasmani Grandal, Tyler Stevenson, Sean Murphy, MJ Melendez, Kybert Ruiz, Travis d'Arnaud, Shea Langoliers, Omar Narvaez, Jonah Heim, and then Mitch Garver / Gary Sanchez.
They're not even the same player or on the same team.
No, well, we don't know that. For all you know what, Texas can turn around and sign Sanchez and just
I guess that's
throw everything up through a loop. Yeah, I feel like our 11 to 20 was a little bit more evenish than our top 10.
A little bit, but it's bizarre that we didn't match in one ranking position.
Yeah, it's because I feel like this position is so all over the place. Like,
yeah,
and it's so, like I said, it's volatile. It changes from year to year. Like right now we have Smith and Real Muto at the top, but like next year it could be Rutschman. Next year it could be Kirk. It could be William Contreras. Like it could be any of these guys. Could be moving up and down many spots.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have anyone that like just missed your top 20 that you feel like you want to?
I had Francisco Mejia at one point. In my top 20. I dropped him out. I forget who I dropped him out for. I think I ended up putting Stevenson up in there, and then I dropped Mejia out. I've always liked him. He seems promising. He just can't stay on the field. Yeah. Tampa Bay's only other catcher is Christian Bethancourt, which like I feel like it's the same situation as in Arizona. I feel like if he's healthy, Mejia is more of the answer than Bethancourt is.
Right.
So something to see in spring training.
Yeah, I just don't trust the Rays ever to play one player consistently. So
no, yeah, for sure.
Like they could throw like Manny Margot and catcher and be like, oh, this is a fucking cash move.
It could happen. Why not? Maybe like Yandy Diaz is playing shortstop or something.
Yeah, Tyler Glasnow could catch. You never know.
Yeah. Probably the only other person that like is least of interest that I'll be watching in spring training is Ryan Jeffers in Minnesota.
Wow.
Like they signed Christian Vasquez, so like they have this platoon again with these two guys, but he's also supposed to be like he's supposed to be the next big catcher, and he hasn't really had the opportunity yet. And the fact that they brought in Vasquez instead of handing it over to Jeffers may be a sign, but he's somebody to at least keep an eye on and see how things go during spring training.
Yeah, he had some streaks where he was actually like pretty productive last year.
Yeah. How about you? Who's on yours just missed?
I've got like a trio of young players. Francisco Alvarez, who we spoke about. No idea what kind of playing time he's going to get, but if he does DH regularly, he'll move up. Logan O'Hoppe is someone who intrigues me.
I don't know anything about this kid.
I don't know much about him either, but it seems like he has the starting catcher's role in Los Angeles.
Yeah, where did that come from? Like, I guess. I mean, Max Stassi had a terrible year last year, but like,
yeah.
Is that it? Like, so he's yesterday's news, I guess.
I mean, he's 32 years old. O'Hoppe is 23, so I guess this could be something like we keep mentioning.
Yeah, like a mentor kind of thing, I guess. Yeah, I forget that Stassi's been around as long as he has. I feel like Stassi should be younger than he is, but you're right. He's been around.
Yeah, he's been around. So he's one guy. Alvarez is one guy, and then I mean, I hate anyone hitting in San Francisco, but Joey Bart was supposed to be this big player, and I'm just gonna watch him. I don't know, maybe like Buster Posey. Come on, man, do it.
Yeah,
You're
right.
supposed to be the next Buster Posey.
Pass the torch.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. He's and like they signed Roberto Perez as like his backup to a minor league deal. So like he's gonna get the playing time. It's just what can you do with it? Can you be at least a league average hitter?
Right. And I mean, if he's hitting ninth on a team that I don't trust anyway, like realistically, I'm not drafting him as my starting catcher, but like he was just this highly touted prospect. I would love to see him get regular playing time and creep up in the lineup, and maybe he could start producing.
Yeah. All right. I think that's gonna put a bow on catchers. What an awful position.
Yeah, and I just want to throw it out there to anyone that's watching. Jason and I obviously disagree on pretty much everything when it comes to catchers. So who do you agree with more? Let us know. Who do you agree with more? Is it Salvador Perez or Wilson Contreras? Who is ranked higher? That's always been our argument, our debate.
Yeah, yeah. That's like those two catchers are the ones that I'm gonna look at as closely as ever this year, see who performs better.
I mean, are we gonna bet on this? We did already, didn't we?
There is a bet somewhere with Joe, with Salvador Perez and Contreras, and I thought there was somebody else involved in it too, but I forget.
Yeah, I think there was another person involved. I feel like you and I should have one just because we're doing this show. This catcher
All right.
show.
All right. So let's do this. Let's see. Let's call it 100 and they each played 114 games last year.
Oh, I thought you were saying dollars. Okay, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, $114. They each played 115 games last year. So let's call it 115. So they have to reach 115 games for it to qualify.
Okay.
You just want to call it home runs? Do you want to call what do you want to look at here?
I don't know. Is home runs like a fair assessment? Sure, we can look at home runs.
I mean, their home run rate is pretty close.
Okay.
At least last year's was. Yeah. All right. So let's say minimum of 115 games. Whoever has most home runs.
Okay. Most home runs: Salvador Perez or William Contreras.
Wilson Contreras.
Sorry, Wilson Contreras. Watch William hit more than both of those guys.
Yeah, you're like, fuck you guys. I'm the real Contreras.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's our official bet. 115 ABs.
Yep.
I mean, games.
115 games. Yeah.
Games. Yeah.
Because I feel like they're both gonna Perez will probably DH more than Contreras will, but I think they could each get 115 games in.
Yeah. Oh, I could see it. I could definitely see it.
All right, cool.
All right.
115 games, most home runs between Contreras and Perez.
Okay. Deal. The loser has to
wear the other one's colors.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. In one show?
Yeah.
Colors or logo?
Logo. Well, logo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love that. It's around the time that I'm getting married that this will all be like messed up. So in October of next year, one of us will be doing a show dressed in the other's colors. I love it.
Yes. All based on whether Wilson Contreras or Salvador Perez hits more home runs.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm down. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thanks for hopping on tonight and talking about catchers.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I know you don't like the position very much, but it's really entertaining for us to like compare and contrast our rankings. And it's not an easy position for anyone. And I think that this position in general, everyone has such a different varying strategy for how to approach come draft time. So I'm fascinated to see like how these rankings play out and where you and I draft a catcher this year. So
it's gonna be fun to see how everybody goes about it, because again, it's always different every year, I feel like. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun to watch.
yes, it is. And thanks for doing this with me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, always, dude. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Until then, it's been fun.
No, it's been real.
And it's been fun. And it's always real fun in the bigs. See you next time, guys.